One of the examples that was quite horrific, actually, that you gave in that article was the Google Photo app, which is quite a
Yes,
well-known one, mistakenly labeling photos of Black people as gorillas.
yes,
I just want people to think about that for a second.
yes.
Just take a moment, maybe pause this interview and just have a think about that, and think about the harm that has caused a huge proportion of the world's population
Mm,
unintentionally. Like, this is the sort of stuff that we're talking about. If we don't get our diversity mix right in the way in which we create these products, is hugely harmful. I think Sachi also talked about the New Zealand police making some sort of acknowledgement around some of the AI technology that they were trialing.
yes, that it adversely targets people from Māori and Pacific backgrounds. And I think that's just prevalent throughout society. AI is one aspect of it, but there are definitely, you can see it a lot in America too, where profiling goes haywire.
I mean, we're
But then
literally building this into our products, aren't we?
yes, and it comes from stereotypes that have been created, our own biases that we hold unconscious or consciously within our heads. And so that comes out in the work and the products and services that we create as a result.
There's one other thing I wanted to ask you about in this segment, which is there was an MIT technology review that covered how credit scoring algorithms, similar to the AI that we were talking about in the context of the New Zealand police and how it racially profiled Māori and Pasifika people, but those credit scoring algorithms keeping people in poverty.
Yes.
What was Daniel and Emma Totu's experience of this in New Zealand?
So they also had a very similar experience where algorithms in terms of credit scoring, once you have a really bad credit score, it's really hard to recover from that, regardless of what you do in your life as a result. And so we keep people in these cycles of not being able to get a loan or not be able to get a home loan to buy a house, or that absolutely disadvantages a whole lot of people from acquiring wealth. I think one of the indicators for financial well-being is having a home. The people who are able to have assets like land or a home are significantly more advantaged in society than those who don't. And so when you have algorithms or credit decisions that are made that go against a large community of people, that just takes them out of the equation of ever being able to be in that kind of wealth category.
Yeah. And I'm just going to read a quote from the article, which was from Daniel, just for people to get a bit more context about what you've just said. And he said, "It made me feel like, as a person, I'm uncomfortable to be a Pacific Islander. Maybe if I wasn't born a Pacific Islander, maybe I would have got a house for my wife and kids already. That's just how I feel." And I think this is probably a moment to pause, honestly, and have a think about those words of Daniel there. But I mean, these are the impacts and consequences that we're talking about in terms of the way in which we design the technology that we are all working on. I mean, they're clearly outcomes that we don't want.